A few of you have watched my earlier body language analysis video of Alexander Usyk and Charles Fox, the interaction, and have surprisingly emailed me. I say surprisingly, of course, because I do not receive much emails. You've emailed me asking me about my time as the world youth champion. Some of you gave me very encouraging words and were very surprised that they have never really heard of me, because this was way back in 1997 and 98 when the internet was still in its infancy, so you don't get... I remember it was in Windows 95 back in those days and still dial-up. Remember the dial-up sound? Beep. So you don't really get much publicity, and still those records that were filed were not really filed electronically. It was paper filed. So, and you've been asking me about certain experiences that I could share. For example, some of you were asking me, hey, Nash, what would be a best way if I'm cornered relating to boxing situations? Oh, what happens if I feel stressed up before I walk into a contest? Are there any techniques that I can use? So I feel very heartened that we see plenty of emails relating to that. But just as I like to use this video to recap about my experience as a whole. As a very young teen then, facing people who are much larger than me. Now, I was in the heavyweight category. I was around 90 kilograms, and I'm not that tall. I would say an average height compared to maybe Asian standard, but if you're comparing with Western European standard, I'm much shorter. I'm about 5 feet 10 and a half, 1.79 meters tall, 90 kilos, so I'm more of the smaller side. So I never faced anyone in my 13 fights shorter or my height. It's always taller than me. So the tallest that I faced was 6'5". So what I usually do in my practice is I usually punch upwards. So I get my mind used to the punching up technique, because I know during fights I'm going to have to do that method. So just few days ago, a few of my students were asking me, hey, I saw your video on body language analysis, and I found out, hey, you are a boxing world champion, a youth world champion. Share with us some tips. And one of the boys actually told me, Mr. Nash, I have a tip for you. I said, okay, what is the tip? So he told me, he said, do you know that when you are in the corner and when you're feeling a little bit tired, your legs are feeling weak like jelly, and you start to feel blurry from your exhaustion, you know that if you were to chew your gumshoe tightly, squeeze in, blood start to circulate better, and you start to feel less nervous and more relaxed and ready to have clarity of mind to carry out your game plan in the next rounds. So, that's something interesting. So you see, sometimes you can never know what you can learn from anyone, because as world boxing champion, you still can learn from someone else. They might have things that you might not be aware of, but you have things that you can share with others as well. So never underestimate who you can learn from. So another tip that I can share with you relating to competition wise is when you are having any kind of competition, before you go out to the actual location, whether it's a boxing ring, a football pitch, or even a gaming studio, you always take at least 10 minutes for yourself to do some of your own relaxation techniques to help you to calm down. One of my students, who's a singer, she performs, she's a 14-year-old student. I asked her, I said, what is the technique that you use to help you to overcome nervousness before you go on stage and face the crowd? So she told me, she said, all she does is very simple. She goes out, she focuses on her mom. Where is her mom? And focus there, because her mom is her inspiration. So whenever she looks at her mom, all her nervousness, all her anxiety melts away, and she goes out there to do whatever that she wants to do well. I asked her, what happens if your mom is not around there? Maybe she's busy. She says all she does is she imagines her mom there. So that's good enough. It works for her. It might not work for you. Visualization might not work for everyone, but find a technique that works well for you and spend at least 10 minutes, because you want to come across as calm, cool, collected to, if you are facing an opponent, to the opponent. If you are just, it's a one-on-one competition, let's say it's a gaming competition, you want to come across nervousness to make sure that you can put into plan what you have in your mind. And when you are calm, you're able to better put into practice what you have in your mind. So make sure you have at least 10 minutes. Any questions relating to my experience or any of the other videos that you watch, drop me an email. I'll be so glad to answer them. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.